Throughout history, whenever a woman looked up, she encountered what we now call the glass ceiling, a kind of semi-permeable membrane composed of social conditioning, gender bias, tradition, and various legal and socio-political structures. And looking down, however, she might have noticed she was walking on a kind of glass floor comprised of all the same stuff. As the glass ceiling, in myriad ways, both nebulous and concrete, has always tended to thwart women's rise to the very top, so the glass floor, in myriad ways, both nebulous and concrete, has always tended to safeguard her from sinking to the extreme bottom of mine shafts, prison cells, and foxholes. Throughout history, the glass floor has acted as a kind of partial insulation between women and the dark side of the world and human nature, together with most of life on Earth's most deeply brutal, filthy, hazardous, arduous, and corrupting realities. And looking up through the glass ceiling, a woman could view the tip of the success pyramid and see that it was mostly male-occupied. And looking down through the glass floor, a woman could view the vast base of the pyramid and see that it too is occupied mostly by men. Men, for example, who were trained to kill in order to protect, being killed or maimed by the thousands and the millions out on battlefields.
In 1950, men throughout the world learned to look on the brutal face of communism.
Many would wind up out on the streets to join the 85% male street homeless. More than a few wind up imprisoned. Though less than a third of men are veterans, more than half the imprisoned are veterans. Thus, veterans all too often join with other men to be suffocated and tortured by the millions within the penal system. Consider also men obligated for toughness, strength, and courage who, throughout history, have been killed or maimed by the thousands and the millions through hard, hazardous labor. The building of the Panama Canal alone cost the lives of over 25,000 men. In recent decades, women have comprised about 50% of the workforce, but less than 7% of all work-related fatalities. In keeping with being more loved, women are better protected. Moreover, one woman's floor is another man's ceiling. Throughout history, when the likes of stigmatized prisoners, war-torn soldiers, and disabled laborers look up, the glass ceiling they encounter is the glass floor women walk upon. Men have always occupied both extremes, the most and the least enviable positions on earth, the latter in far greater numbers than the former. Meanwhile, women have largely occupied the middle ground. In my view, that is neither oppression nor victimization. That is an imperfect but essentially even deal. I believe that woman, equally as powerful as man, playing an equal force of influence, was equal partner in creating and maintaining the deal. Woman accepted a deal that included the glass ceiling because it came as a package deal that included the glass floor. Throughout the brutal past, when life for most was little more than a struggle for survival, woman's top priority was in securing a relatively soft and safe environment for herself and for her children. Woman was equal partner in maintaining the deal because, being smaller and weaker and the bearer and nurturer of the young, overall the deal served her purposes, and besides, it was an even deal. If we don't see it that way, it is at least in part because conditions for women are not normally compared against conditions suffered by the men occupying the true bottom rung. Owing to a lack of love toward men, these garbage men and their sufferings have little presence in our minds and in our hearts. Naturally, if the only comparison we make is a comparison for conditions for the average woman against conditions for the elite male, women will seem to be the powerless victims every time. Though this male power, female victimization conclusion is one-sided and therefore false, it is nevertheless the standard, the official belief system, only because it sustains beloved gender illusions. But times have changed, and those beloved illusions now come at too high a price. Feminists are wrong about the glass ceiling for at least these 3 reasons. 1, feminists present the glass ceiling as something that stands alone, when in truth, the glass ceiling is mirrored by the glass floor. 2, feminists present the glass ceiling as being emblematic of women's lot in life, when in truth, the glass ceiling is only representative of the male power, female victimization half of gender reality, the glass floor being representative of the other half. 3, feminists present the glass ceiling as something that has been forced upon women owing to their powerlessness, when in truth, woman was equal partner in the molding of our human world, a human world that was molded in such a way as to include both the glass ceiling and the glass floor. But this leaves us with one important question. If women were equal partners in maintaining the deal because it served their purposes, why then do women now reject the deal? What changed? That question I will address in my next video, The Glass Floor Part 2. This concludes The Glass Floor Part 1. I'm Tim Goldich. Thanks for watching. I invite you to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.